Entitled mum gets mad that she's not allowed to occupy an emergency road with a stroller. So backstory, I work for a company that does LARP based events, birthday parties mostly, but also quite a few company trips, and other general weird events. And every year, we attend several medieval fairs as they provide excellent advertisement for the company, and are a lot of fun for us crew. So my job on this medieval fair was to coordinate our archery with foam arrows and tamarind rock throwing, which was located right besides one of the 3 taverns on the market. Now, there being a tavern meant there also had to be several emergency roads, one of which leads right between my area and that of another activity of ours. So to the story. I was standing there, teaching some kids how to use a bow and arrow, all well and good, right? With the emergency road being fairly packed, but that's no biggie. Since there should be an emergency, the people can get moved really quite quickly. We're just not allowed to block it with anything. As the kid finishes his turn, having an absolute blast shooting arrows, against the heathenistic Swedes, I look over and noticed someone from the tavern tent come walking towards me. Quite naturally, I walk towards him and apologize to the next in line that they'll have to wait a quick moment. The guy looks displeased, to say the least, and I admittedly get ready for an earful, but fortunately, not my fault. He'd just spoken with the safety team and the fire road was too blocked, so I turn to look and I see the problem. The road was fairly busy, but in the middle of it all, I see a woman sitting in a camping chair with a baby stroller next to her, and based on her haircut, facial expression, and style of clothing, I began seeing a massive sign above her head with the name Karen written on it. Because Lord Almighty, she looked like one. Now, with the way my area and the one next to me was made, we have a dead zone in between us. An area that can't really be used for anything, and is kinda just there. So me being the smart boy that I am, I think to myself, if I move over, Karen over there in the dead zone, problem solved. So I go over to her, and of course start off with, "Excuse me, ma'am?" "What? Shouldn't you be doing your job and get this line done with?" "Well, yes I should, but first I need you to move with your stroller. Over to there," I point at the dead zone. "Why? I'm sitting perfectly fine here, and I want to watch my boy when he shoots." "Ma'am, you'll be perfectly capable of watching him over there." "And why do I have to move?" "Because, ma'am, this is an emergency road, and your chair and stroller is in the way." "But there isn't any emergency now, is there?" "No, but that doesn't matter, ma'am. The road is in case there is one." "You listen here. You just do your dang job, or I'll report you for harassment and get you fired. I know the man who runs this show." She didn't clarify whether she meant just our little area, where I happen to be on very good terms with my boss, or the whole market, where I also happen to be on good terms with the people on the top. "Ma'am, I don't really care who you know. I've gotten word from the safety team that strollers, chairs, and such are not allowed in the emergency roads." This kinda talk followed for quite a while, with her creating quite a scene, mentioning numerous times that she knew the boss, showrunner, director, whoever. She used a lot of different names for him. Now, what I didn't know was that the one of the other crew had gotten hold of the big man himself and asked him to come down. So after maybe 10 minutes of very fruitless conversation, he arrives, and he takes over for me, trying to explain to this lady that she has to move. She gets very aggressive with the change in person, and threatens the big man himself with getting him fired. Now, I'd like to think that I'm usually pretty good at keeping my cool, but I lost it. I began laughing like a lunatic, and the few around me who overheard it and knows who the big man is also began laughing, which only makes the entitled mother even more frantic, and she begins screaming, "Shut up, all of you! I know the man who runs this entire market, and I'm gonna get all of you fired!" I almost fall over myself laughing. So the big man himself asks the entitled mother, "So, who exactly is it you know?" And to my surprise, she actually knows the name of the big man and says it straight to his face. So the big man himself confirms that she claims to know him personally, and lo and behold, he just reaches for his ID, and I could see the look on her face when she realized that it was, in fact, him. She quickly grabbed her son, her chair, her stroller, and stormed off. Not a whole lot more happened, other than a lot of laughs that evening. Our next story was posted by user Shadows in Time, titled, Entitled Mother Rams Stroller with Her Own Kid in It into Security Guard. Not entirely sure if this falls into Entitled Parent story, but remembered this from a while back and thought I'd share. This happened in the early 2000s, when my friend was working as a cashier in a shopping chain store. Our cast is Entitled Mother, my friend, and Security Guard. My friend was on Register 1, the closest register to the exit door, about 20 feet away, when the woman, the entitled mother, and her larger stroller with her younger toddler in it, walked through the first exit doors as the store alarm went off. This is a store with a one-section room area you enter first, where the carts are stored, to walk through to enter the actual store area. Everyone stopped and looked at her, but Entitled Mother turned around, no concern on her face, and spoke aloud to my friend on the register, the nearest employee she could see. She started waving her flip phone up high to the registers and shouted, "Oh, it was just my cell phone." Friend told me that sometimes back then, in the early 2000s, cell phones would occasionally set off the security sensors at the exit doors, so it was a common thing to see. Friend did a quick nod, then suddenly, and at a breakneck speed, one of their co-workers and SG came running from the back of the store and charged in front of the woman before Entitled Mother could get out through the next set of exit doors to the parking lot. Both the security guard and the co-worker are blocking her from leaving now, as her younger toddler begins crying. The Entitled Mother becomes frantic and starts to lose her cool. This is what friend told me they heard. "Please, it's just my cell phone, let me through." "Ma'am, we need to check your belongings." "I told you, it's my phone." "Ma'am, I need to check." "Why? Let me out." "Ma'am!" Friend, at this point, said Entitled Mother started ramming the stroller with her toddler in it against the security guard and co-worker, as her child is now screaming. The security guard at this point had to restrain her before she hurt her own child in the chaos, and Entitled Mother was screaming at the top of her lungs, "Let go!" to unhand her and to not hurt her child either. Turns out, on the security footage, security guards saw her acting suspicious, went looking for Entitled Mother, but she was gone from the section, so he questioned the co-worker in the section Entitled Mother was just in and investigated. Then immediately, they both knew when the alarm went off at the doors. Found out Entitled Mother was piling several CDs and DVDs into her child's stroller, hoping she could get away with it with the cell phone gimmick. Don't know what happened after that, but it's pretty darn entitled and screwed up to use your own kid as a decoy to steal, then ram that kid into other guys to try to escape. What morals? Our next story was posted by user TJ1502, titled, "My mum got offended that I wouldn't commit voter fraud." This is my first post and I quadruple checked everything, so roast me if you need. Now, one thing you need to understand is how my mother can get. Just a quick story. I was once in a test at uni. My phone was required to be turned off for the 2 hours I was in there. I came back, turned my phone on, and instantly got missed calls and messages from her. Every single message consisted of, "When I call, you pick up." She insisted that I sneak my phone into the test with me so that if she calls, I can leave an answer. I'd automatically fail my test for this. I'm registered as a student with disabilities, so I get double time on my tests. As a result, during my tests, I can't have any contact outside the center. I can take a break if I need, but I have to spend it in the lobby. To this day, she still thinks I was in the wrong for having my phone off. And now that you've met my mother, on with the story. I'm a university student. I live on campus for most of the year and only live with my parents on breaks. Anyone familiar with the school year knows that election day does not land anywhere near any breaks. In my state, you can have your voter registration address as your on-campus address if you live on campus. They actually encourage it since you spend most of your year there and therefore the elections actually directly affect you. So I did. I changed my address on my registration to my dorm room address. Needless to say, there was a local election back home and my family was keen on us all participating and voting for a particular person. My mom, about a week before the election, called and asked for me to apply for an absentee vote for the local election back home. I told her I had changed my address to the one on the campus. She replied offended, "Why? You don't live there." The logic, however, was simple. I spend 9 months living in my dorm, half a state away from home. I spend 1 month home for winter break and 2 months home for summer break. Essentially, you do live where you go to school, and the state sees it that way too. You pay rent, you pay electricity, water, you sleep there, you live there. Now, the deadline to apply for absentee voting had already passed by the time she had called. When I pointed that out, she again took it personally. She wanted me to just get one anyway. When I told her I couldn't, she then asked for me to instead change my address back. Now, the deadline in my state to change your address before an election is around a month. She calls a week before. Even after being told that it would be illegal for me to try to vote at home, especially since I'm voting in the local elections in the campus area, which again she took very offensively, she tried to tell me to just do it anyway, because she already told her friends I was voting there. What? An hour into the argument, I finally reveal that even if it was possible for me to switch back my addresses in time, even if I could still apply for absentee, that I would not, as then I couldn't vote in the elections local to the campus, and that was where I was voting. I was voting for the area around my campus because, as I spend most of my year there, and will for a long time, the policies affect me more than the policies of a location I spend a fraction of my time at. I also liked the area around my campus so much that, like many previous students, I decided to move there after I graduate. This she was okay with. This she understood. But she couldn't understand why I would vote there instead of home. The last thing she said to me for election day was, "Okay, just remember to apply for absentee. Who knows? You might even get it. Even if you don't, I'll just pick you up if I have to drive you down there so you can vote." She didn't say this in a mean way, but as cheery, "I'm trying to help" way. And I honestly believe she was trying to help me. But she refused to listen to me when I told her how illegal what she was suggesting was. After the election, she mentioned that she would just tell everyone that I voted there anyway, and that I voted for the specific person they were rooting for anyway. I didn't care. She can do what she wants. But I made it clear that if I was personally asked, I would tell them that it would be impossible, as I'm registered to vote in a different county. She's mostly dropped it by now, but she still acts really offended if it's ever brought up that I wouldn't break the law for her. I'm ready to put up with it again this year. It's really no big deal. Just a little argument. Though I suppose I should point out that some friends caught glimpses of my messages with her as she was messaging me constantly, which prompted me to bring it up during counseling sessions, and the counselor on the spot labeled the toxic relationship. I'm an adult though. It's a nuisance at this point, if anything. In case it isn't clear, she didn't do anything illegal, as she never tried to apply for my absentee. I know this because if I even had applied, I would have gotten a confirmation mail at my registered address, at my campus, and I never got it. However, it's at the point where I wouldn't waste a second to notify police of attempted voter fraud if she did, and I make it very clear that I didn't vote at home. So whenever someone brings up how my mother told them I did, I make it clear that I did not, and they suddenly get very untrusting of her, which is somehow my fault?
Oh well, it's a shame that I don't care. Our next story was posted by user KamesLeeThunder, titled, "Give your meds to entitled kid, you racist." Before you read, English isn't my first language and I'm on mobile. Backstory. Because I'm allergic to pollen, so I have to take meds that ease my symptoms, like itchy eyes and breathing problems. So me and some friends were sitting in a restaurant, eating stuff, and it was time for me to take the pills. Entering entitled mum and entitled kid. Cast, me obviously, F for friends, entitled moron, and give me the Tic Tacs, kid. Let's begin. Entitled kid sees me taking the pills, packed in a typical pill container, and comes to our table asking me for a Tic Tac. Sorry, but these, pointing at the pills, are not Tic Tacs. They are medicine. Entitled kid nods and leaves. We'd thought he'd understand that he just can't have them. Entering entitled mother. God, we were so wrong. Entitled kid told me you're not giving him your Tic Tacs. Well, they're not Tic Tacs, they're pills. I need them. Stop lying. Those are obviously candy. Like I said, those aren't candy. He can't have them. Entitled kid is now throwing a tantrum. What did you do? You made him upset. I'm sorry, but those are not medicine. Stop lying. And even if they were medicine, what are they for? They're for my allergy. I'm allergic to pollen. You racist? There's no allergy to Polish people. This makes more sense in German. Let me explain. I said pollen in German. She understood Polish, Pollen in German. Know the difference, I would say. I said pollen, Pollen. Shut up, you racist, and give my entitled kid your candy. Entering an employee. What is going on? This racist stole my kid's candy. Hey, that's not true. Did you stole this boy's candy? Pointing at entitled kid. I, showing him the pills, say, they're my pills, and I need them. This kid thinks they're candy, and ask if he can have some. I said no. Now this woman, his mother, is harassing us. Entitled mother yells and screams that we should be taken out of the restaurant and should be sued for theft, attacks an employee for getting her escorted out, and gets into jail for attacking this guy. Yay! Our next story was posted by Chats0714, titled, Entitled mother curses me out for not letting her son win in a paintball match. I have a ton of these stories, and now I finally have enough karma to start sharing them with you guys. So now that school is out, I've been frequently going to my local paintball field to play a few games with random people, occasionally bringing a friend along. Today it was just me, since most of my friends are going out of their town with their families. I'm in a match with a bunch of people. The game mode is capture the flag, with 5 kids on each team. So I'm pretty good at playing paintball, or at least I like to think that, and I would repeatedly find myself in a shootout with this one 12-year-old kid. Since I'm pretty sure it was his first time playing, I ended up hitting him every time, and our team would end up always getting the flag. For this story, I'm not going to call this kid entitled kid, since he was pretty cool about the whole thing. He was basically the complete opposite of his mother though. So our cast are me, kid, entitled mum, and employee. So I got kid out, and in the middle of the game, I caught him on his way back to the waiting area, where entitled mother was. I gave him a quick tip about pulling the trigger faster, which he was grateful for, and I jumped back into the fight. I could hear entitled mother and kid talking. What are you doing over here? I got out. Was it that kid again? Referring to me. Yeah, so what? Don't worry, sweetie. I'm going to have a talk with him. Mum, please don't make a big deal out of this. He's just better at the game than me. Hush now. As soon as he gets out, I'm speaking to him. So the game finishes, and I quickly jog out of the arena to grab an energy bar from my backpack. I can hear entitled mother's heels clicking in hot pursuit of me. I pretend to not see or notice her. However, She's the aggressive type, so she taps me on the shoulder pretty hard.
Excuse me?
What's up?
So I heard that you shot my kid again.
Mom, please don't start anything. Yeah, well, that's kind of the point of the game.
I know that. You don't have to get smart with me.
I'm not getting smart, but I feel like I know where this conversation is going.
So you will do it?
Do what? I wanted to hear her say it out loud, so maybe she could hear how ridiculous she was being.
Let my son win the game.
What?
Well, it seems like you were picking on little kids because you were better than them at this paintball thing.
And what makes you say that?
Are you insecure about yourself or something? Is that it? Is that why you have to assert yourself against little kids?
I really wanted to be reasonable, but she's taking this whole thing way too far. Mom, what the heck? Stop making a big deal out of this.
Not now, son.
Why are you getting upset about this? Your son seems like he's having fun. Yeah, Mom, I am. Please, can we just go back to playing?
No, kid. I'm not going to let you be taken advantage of by bigger kids.
You're crazy, you know that. I'm not going to let your son win. So how about you just leave me alone? Entitled Mum starts to freak out and starts screaming obscenities at me. Employee comes over to see what's wrong. Okay, everybody, let's just calm down here. What's happening?
Thank God you're here. This kid is cheating at paintball and is bullying my son and the other kids on his team.
Is this true? Of course not. She wants me to let her son win and started cussing me out when I said no. If anyone's the bully here, it's her. If you sent, believe me, just ask the kid.
He didn't do anything wrong. It was my mom who started this whole thing.
The entitled mother had a look of pure rage on her face. Man, I'm gonna let you off with a warning. If anything else happens and I hear that you're involved somehow, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave. She's flabbergasted right now and struggling for words. I know, who says flabbergasted anymore? The end, I guess. In the end, I felt bad for the kid because it seems like his mum did this kind of thing a lot, and I hope that he didn't get in trouble at home for taking my side. I am proud of him for getting involved and trying to get his mum to stop acting like a brat. Thanks for reading. Our next story was posted by user Jesus Our Lord. Amen. Titled, Entitled Kid Wants to Fight Me, Gets His Butt Beat, and Cries to His Mom. A little bit of backstory. This happened last year, and it was one of the worst moments of my life. I, in no way, wish the following things on anyone. Anyway, I have a few mental issues, including depression, so I am a very sad lad. Because of this, I was not very popular in Year 7. I went to the worst school in my state, and it was so bad there that half of the students were bullies, and there was a really bad fight every second day. Now to the story. Our cast, Entitled Kid, who is our devil in this tale. EM, a land whale. Gaggle of idiots, who are the Entitled Kid's friends. P, principal. Me, a walnut made of almonds. And finally, LM, my mother. So there is a kid there that was extremely entitled, and this kid would scream when he got into trouble. He acted like an elementary school kid that hadn't learned manners yet. His mum was no help, and she was a Karen in every level, including spoiling her kid beyond reason. His dad, however, was chill and a cool guy. Anyway, this kid had enough pride to crush a tank. He would walk around like an idiot and was just a douche all round. Anyway, one day he walks up to me and he yells, "Hey gay, *** T, I bet I can bash you easily." Okay, entitled kid, your point is? Let's fight after school, or are you too softy? Me, completely sick of his crap already. Fine, whatever, meet me in the bike area. Fine, you little crap. Lo and behold, I show up after school. He isn't there, so I leave and wait till the next day. He doesn't show up in first break, so I wait for him and his gaggle of idiots at their usual spot. They show up and I stand up and shout, "Hey Big Dipper, you gonna fight me?" I'm very proud of this insult. Entitled Kid is red and runs at me. He throws a punch. I'm a boxer, so this is easy for me, and I dodge. I was super surprised by this. I counter with an uppercut to the chin and a liver shot jab. He drops, but gets up again and throws a weird wonky jab type thing, so I block and counter with a 1-2 jab combo to the right side of his face, hits square in the eye, and he falls over, gets back up again, and tries again. I dodge and throw a jab at his gut, and he blocks it, so I go for a hook to the side of his head, and he gets knocked clean out. The fight is over, and I just walk home, being too angry to stay. Next day, and I show up and get pulled into the principal's office straight away. The kid looked awful. He had a black eye and a bruised arm and a big lump on his head. He looked pretty bad. I looked fine though. My mother and Entitled Mother were there. My mum was silent and Entitled Mother was screaming. I sat down and this conversation happened. Okay, OP, why did you attack Entitled Kid? I need a good reason or you will be expelled. He's been bullying me and he started the fight. I pull out my phone and show the principal the texts I have of the Entitled Kid cyberbullying me and a few other people. Okay, Entitled Kid, explain yours.
That is fake, because my angel could never say anything like that. He is an angel and he is perfect.
Yeah. At that moment, the Entitled Kid's gaggle of idiots came in, and the principal asked them what had happened. Like the morons they were, they told the truth down to the way the Entitled Kids bullies everyone. To shorten this a bit, Entitled Kid got suspended for a while and got some community service, plus a while in detention, and I got a couple of days suspension. Upon hearing this, Entitled Mother attempted to slap me, but I just locked and threw a fake at her face. The end, and thanks for reading. Our next story was posted by user Danabla42, titled, Entitled Mum Wants Me to Let Her Kid Play with a $1,000 Toy, or Else. Hey all, it's me again. The fact that I ran into yet another person stupid enough to warrant my typing this makes me want to punch things. But I figure some internet strangers can maybe get entertainment out of my stressful moments. So here we are. Sorry if I sound a little cold and bitter. I've been going through some bad stuff lately, and entitled parent bullcrap makes me cranky. So, some important context. I lived, until recently, in a small Connecticut town that had a cove with a connector that dumped into the river. The cove itself is quite large, about a small lake-sized, with a large gravel parking area, usually used for boat launches. Although local cops like to park there, do paperwork, eat food, watch the water, and be thankful their small town isn't eventful enough to end up on something like live PD. Because of that large body of still water, I like to come here to run RC boats. The boat I was running at this time was my Spartan. This pic of when I took it to a family reunion in Rhode Island is the best I have at this moment. I've done more to it since then. It's 3 feet, 36 inches long, water-cooled electric, and fast. I think total, boat itself and all the upgrade parts I've put on it, it's about $1,000 or so. Most of the time, if someone asks me if they can drive it, they're pretty understanding when I say no. But entitled parents are not most people. By this point, where we start the story, I was standing out on the floating dock, setting up a radar gun I'd borrowed from a friend of mine who drives a race car on its little tripod, and was putting the batteries in the boat to get it ready to go. I noticed a local cop had pulled into the parking area off to the side, and was in the process of unwrapping a grinder from the local shop up the street. Sandwich time had come, and from the look he was giving that grinder, it had been sorely missed. I also noticed a woman and her young son walking along the water's edge, and they noticed me setting up, which isn't hard since my boat is bright red. I noticed her trying to walk casual in the general area as I connected the power, and put it in the water, poking the button on the radar gun for max hold, while I did a slow figure 8 to make sure everything was functioning. I'd had problems with the rudder servo before, and it would hook a left as soon as you gave it a throttle. As I lined up to make a pass in front of the radar gun, they approached me. "Hey, that's a pretty cool toy boat." Not paying full attention to her. I lined up my shot and floored the throttle, screaming past the radar gun. 76 miles per hour. Wow, and so fast too. Still not paying attention, lining up another shot. I floored it past again, keeping it more stable. 82 miles per hour. Are you listening to me? Oh, sorry, I have to concentrate for speedruns to keep it steady. This hull style is fast, but not as stable as you'd think. I pulled it in next to the dock so I could talk to this woman. Entitled mother, going straight for the throat, apparently.
Think my son could try it out?
No, sorry. This is pretty expensive and very fast. I point to the radar gun, still showing 82 miles per hour on this display.
So? My son won't break it. He's a good boy.
Ah crap, here we go again. .gif.
Lady,
your son looks like he's maybe 8, and I have a lot of money into this boat. So, sorry, but no.
You're just selfish. You let my son drive that toy boat. I'm his mother, and I say it's okay.
Yep, that's right. She gave permission for someone else to use my stuff. I look over and lock eyes with the cop, sitting in his car, sandwich crammed halfway in his mouth. I can see it in his eyes. He can see what's going on, but really doesn't want to interrupt sandwich time unless he has to. Entitled mother takes advantage of my distraction to try and grab the transmitter from me, and since she's got me cornered on the edge of a floating dock, I wasn't able to just move away. So I ended up elbowing her in the process of shutting off the transmitter so the boat wouldn't run away, and then wrestling it away from her. The cop takes notice, sighs, puts down his sandwich, and gets out to approach us. As he walks up, the entitled mother is screaming at me about assault and lawsuits and other things I couldn't make out. She was hitting the pitch that caused physical pain. Okay, whoa, calm down, ma'am. What's going on here?
This man assaulted me because I asked if my son could play with his toy.
The cop sighs, pinches the bridge of his nose, and his face takes on the expression of, God fudging damn it. Okay, really? Are you really gonna try that? Really? You know I was watching you, right? The whole time. And I know you know that's not what really happened. But stop! I don't want to hear it. Look, I'm on my lunch break, and I really don't want to deal with this right now. So let me tell you what's going to happen.
But
Don't interrupt me again, please. Here's what's gonna happen. You and your son are going to walk away now, and let me go back to my lunch, and this man to get back to whatever he's doing. You're going to do it now, or I'll give you a free ride in my car, and I guarantee you won't like how that ends. Are we clear? That's a yes or no question. Are we clear? Entitled mother, visibly deflated, says, Yes, good. You're free to go now. Entitled mother sulks away slowly, constantly looking back at me, and the cop gives me a sort of half-hearted apology and goes back to his cruiser to resume sandwich time. I managed to hit 91 miles per hour on a fluke run, before my batteries started running low and I had to pick up. So that's it, my Sunday entitled mother encounter that ruined what would have been some good stress relief. Hope you guys enjoy, and as weird as it may seem for me to say, I actually genuinely hope I don't end up back here with another story, as each entitled parent encounter I have makes me rethink the whole going outside and doing human things bit, just for a minute. TLDR, don't freak with sandwich time. Our next story was posted by a user, Unitarded Antivax, titled, Entitled Mother Grabs My 5-month Baby to Entertain Her Child in the Supermarket. So, before people call me a bad father, I wasn't away from the cart, I was right next to it, but turned around to answer my wife. Entitled Mother and me are known, NK is nice kid, 6 to 8 years old, W is wife, M is manager. I was in the supermarket last Saturday with my wife and 5-month-old. We had already seen Nice Kid and Entitled Mother when Nice Kid yelled baby. We talked to them for a bit and then went on our way. Our baby was in a carrier in the cart. He was sleeping, so we were quickly doing our groceries. It went fine until my wife asked me something. I turned around to answer her. This didn't even take a minute. When I turned around to look at my baby, he was gone, carrier and all. My wife quickly got a manager, and I ran around the store to find someone with a carrier. I heard a baby crying and immediately ran towards it. I saw a Nice Kid sitting on the ground with my baby trying to play with him, but as he got woken up, he was very cranky. I called my wife and asked the Nice Kid where she got him. He said, "Mum gave him to me. She said he needed someone to play with." She can't just take someone's baby without asking. Sorry. Am I in trouble? If I can take him, you want? Sorry, please take him. I walked to my wife, who had gotten the manager of the store. He called the police as soon as he heard. The cop had gotten there as soon as he could. The police station is down the street. The cop saw me holding my baby and asked if I knew who had him. I told him Entitled Mother and where I found him. We walked there, and as soon as we walked into the aisle, Entitled Mother walked up to me.
Who the frick do you think you are taking the baby from my daughter?
Ma'am, calm down or I will handcuff you. I already know the baby is theirs and that you took him. I want to know why.
My daughter was bored, and the baby just sitting there.
He was sleeping, and who gives you the right to just take him when I was right next to him? Calm down, sir. Manager walks up with a USB stick with the footage of Entitled Mother stealing my baby. Do you want to press charges? Entitled Mother tries to walk away, but the cop calls her out and handcuffs her. He tells her to call someone to pick up the Nice Kid. Nice Kid gets picked up, and cop, me, and Entitled Mother go to the police station. I did press charges, but as this happened last Saturday, it is going to take a while. I also cannot show the video as it is evidence and sharing it would make it invalid according to the cop. Edit, we did visit lawyers this morning, and for those who are asking, since we live in the Netherlands and our justice system is a joke, this could be the sentence. If the judge thinks she had malicious intent, she would get 9 years prison as the maximum. If the judge sees no malicious intent, she'll get a fine, community service, and has to follow a course in being a parent. Our next story was posted by a user, It's a Habit of Mine, titled, Entitled Mother Tells My Husband Not to Order for Me, or for me to use sign language. Here is a little history of me so this makes more sense. I'm non-verbal due to an injury and communicate exclusively via writing and sign language, unless I want to feel like I'm pouring half-molten nails down my throat. DH, my husband, EM, Entitled Mother, PK, poor kid. I love eating at restaurants. Denny's, Applebee's, little family-owned Mexican and Chinese places, etc. With that means I gotta get my food, which my husband typically orders for me to avoid playing a game of charades with the waiter and waitress. We were eating out, and apparently this was wrong. So, we were getting our food, and this little kid near us, maybe 8 or 9, was watching us, since the restaurant was fairly empty. Right after the server leaves, the kid can audibly be heard speaking with his mother, a woman probably in her mid to late 40s. "Mummy, what about her?" Entitled Mother, she wasn't paying attention I'd assume, says, What was that, PK? He ordered for both of them. He what? The girl didn't talk to him. That's not right. Let's go see if there's a reason, PK. At this point, she takes a few steps over towards us, PK in tow. Hi, you two. Hello. Who is this? She motions towards me. Your girlfriend? Close enough. Do you need something? Do you do that often? Do what often? Order for her. All the time. Could you please stop that? I'd rather not. I'm asking nicely. Can she not talk? Basically,
Just don't do it again. I don't want my kid to grow up to be some barbarian.
No, feel free to leave us alone. She leaves with a huff, and that seemed to be it for the night at first. As we get our food, we started talking, signing, both clearly a little confused about what this strange woman's issue was. Now, when I'm saying crazy in sign language, I use the ever-known finger pointing to head crazy, which I happened to start using right as she re-approached us.
What are you two doing?
Please go away, ma'am.
I'm not going to let you teach my kid to use gang signs, so stop it!
We're not teaching anything.
I don't care what it is. Stop it. Just talk like normal people.
She physically put air quotes on the word talk. Classy. She soon walked away, and we continued our conversation with her angrily staring at us, trying to shield her kid from the terrific gang signs up until they left. On behalf of all people who don't talk, I'd like to apologize for encouraging gang culture. Our next story was posted by user ashleywayne, titled, Entitled Mother Gets Mad Because She Didn't Get Gifts on Father's Day? Sadly, the entitled mother in this story is my own mother. She's been acting extremely entitled for all of Father's Day weekend, and I have to share this here. I'm on mobile. On Saturday, we went out to dinner with my dad. We like to have dinner with the family before or after the holiday to avoid the crowds. We took him to a steakhouse he really enjoys, where they served bread and butter before the meal comes out. My sister was being cheesy and said, "Here you go, Dad. I buttered your bread for you," while handing him a piece of bread with butter lazily spread across it. My siblings and I all laughed at this. My sister then passed the bread around the table so everyone could take their own. Everyone was fine with this. Everyone except entitled mother, of course.
You didn't butter my bread too. Can you do mine?
I buttered his because it's Father's Day. It's not Mother's Day. Yeah, don't take the special treatment away from him.
Wow. Angrily snatches bread away.
My sister and I share a look of confusion. My mother was actually getting offended by not having her bread buttered for her. The table went silent after that. My sister's order came out wrong, and she had to send it back, making her the only one without a plate. Everyone waited for her to get a new plate. Everyone, of course, except for Entitled Mother. Entitled Mother finished her steak and potatoes in record time. She didn't look up from her plate even once. She gave no fricks about my sister having nothing to eat at that moment. The following day, she continued the fun. I had to work on Father's Day, just for 3 hours. I got out at 2 p.m. and walked home in the rain, as my mother had ignored my text messages asking for a ride home. On my way home, I decided to grab a pint of chocolate fudge brownie ice cream and an ice cream sandwich for my father, a little Father's Day gift. The pint was big enough to be shared. When I got home, I gave it to my dad and he thanked me. That's when Entitled Mother enters.
Okay, where's mine?
Your what?
You got him an ice cream sandwich, where's mine?
I didn't get you one?
Seriously? I would never come home with something for one person and not the other. That is so rude.
Well, that's why I also bought a pint.
Whatever, OP.
She storms off to her bedroom. Edit. After this, my dad told me I had made my mother feel bad, and that's why she went to her room. Unfortunately, she is used to getting her way and treating him pretty badly. She literally expected special treatment on Father's Day. She kind of reminds me of a little kid at a birthday party when they get upset that they aren't getting any presents. Our next story was posted by user ewit78, titled, Why Are You Seating Them First When My Baby Has to Eat? Hey all, long-time lurker of this sub, first-time poster. I'm on mobile. Feel free to correct spelling and grammar and all that jazz. Today's story happened this morning and takes place in a diner. I wasn't involved and just witnessed it and thought I'd share. Our cast are Entitled Mother, Karen, DW, diner waitress, and M manager. Today is Father's Day, so many families came out to brunch with their dads to celebrate. As such, the diner was packed. I was there with my sister and friends as her bachelorette party was the night before, so we were pretty hungover and very excited to fill up on greasy breakfast food. The wait time was 15 minutes for a table of 7. Not bad. So we put our names in and waited. We were standing there for maybe 2 minutes when I heard the typical Karen yelling.
What do you mean there's not a table for us yet? I just watched you seat that table over there, and we put our name in before them.
Yes, ma'am, I did, but they were a party of 4, and your family is a party of 8, so there hasn't been a table opened yet.
But we put our names in first. We should get seated first.
We will seat you as soon as the table of 8 opens, but until then, I'm gonna seat smaller parties, ma'am.
I can't believe you're gonna let me and my family starve. I have a baby who needs to eat. Let me talk to your manager.
Side note from me, her baby was around 6 or 7, also known as he could wait a little to eat and wasn't going to starve. The worker turned to get the manager, and entitled mother turned to complain to her family about how horrible the service here is. The manager came within 2 minutes.
Finally! I've been waiting for you for a while. Your incompetent worker has been seating people after my party on the list and left us here to wait.
Yes, ma'am. She told me she had seated some smaller parties while we waited for a table of your size to clear up.
Well, it's not fair. How is my baby supposed to stand here and watch people sit down who came in after us? Why can't you just clear a table for us?
Ma'am, please, I cannot tell other customers to leave before they are finished, so you can sit down. At this point, a table of that size had cleared, and the waitress brought the rest of the family to the table. But entitled mother and her baby stayed with the manager so she could continue to yell. What next occurred was about 7 more minutes of the entitled mother going on about how she had been here before, and the service was just awful, and this is the last time we will be here. Yeah, right. Until finally, ma'am, your table is ready, and I believe that DW is taking your family's orders. If you are so concerned about your child starving, I would suggest sitting and ordering. Thank you for coming and have a nice day. With that, the manager turned red, went back into the kitchen, leaving the entitled mother open-mouthed for a good 10 seconds or so before she went to sit. When my table sat down, we spent a couple of minutes gossiping about how rude they were with our different waitress, and gave her a little money as a tip for the DW, since we were sure the entitled mother wasn't going to. Our next story was posted by user EqualDifferences, titled, Crazy Christian Mother Demands I Be Fired Because I'm Possessed. So a bit of backstory. I'm 15 and I have Tourette's. Not going to elaborate on this because I really don't like talking about it, but it's vital for context. Also, I'm not on mobile for this. Our cast are me, myself, entitled Christian Mother Freaker, HK, her kid who I would assume is around 11 or 12, my boss, and random dude. This happened several months ago. So I work at a grocery store and I'm a cashier there, and I have worked there for almost 2 years. So I was having kind of a bad day because my tics were kind of flared up, but nobody ever asked about it, and nobody ever seemed to notice somehow. At least until this point. Q, entitled mother. Hi, how are you today?
Pretty good, I guess.
It started off pretty normal. I noticed her kid was wearing a uniform for what I assumed was private school. Then she notices my tic.
What are you doing?
I have Tourette's, I can't control this.
I'm asking you to stop.
I can't control this is out of my reach. Entitled mother starts breaking down, pleading with me not to hurt them. What are you talking about?
Jesus, please forgive me.
My boss's name, I shout out, can you please come over here? Mom, what's going on? Sir, what did you do to her? I didn't do anything. I have no idea what's happening. My boss, by this point, had made his way over to me. I'm not even sure if it's because I called him over, because this woman was making a scene. My boss says, "Ma'am, what seems to be the problem?"
You need to fire him right now.
Me?
You can't hire people who are possessed, and he needs to be fired.
HK, I think, realizes his mom was being borderline nuts, starts trying to get her less angry.
Mom, he said he has a medical condition and he can't control it.
This woman was ape crap crazy at this point, making sure she could tell everyone she could that this store had a possessed person working here. When this didn't work, she turned back to my boss and me, who were still both dumbfounded. Mainly my boss, because he was very new. He had started a little over a week ago. When her yelling at people I was possessed didn't work, this happened.
I demand all my items be free of charge, and this demon-controlled person be fired.
My boss, still trying to keep his composure, says, "Ma'am, we can't just make everything free. He is not possessed." "Thank you."
Mom, can we please leave? You're making a scene and embarrassing me.
Ma'am, can you please just calm down?
Calm down?
Calm down? Don't you tell me to calm down. You have a possessed employee, and you're trying to tell me to calm down. I'm calling the police. No, Mum, please, I just want to leave. She proceeded to pull her phone out, and at this time, RD, the random dude, walks up. "Ma'am, I am an off-duty police officer. What can I assist you with?" Entitled Mother, sounding very winded. "Sir, please help me. There's a demon-possessed employee here, and nobody will fire him." "Ma'am, I don't know what you're on about, but this man here is clearly not possessed." "I have Tourette's. Jesus Christ, I cannot control it. This is uncomfortable and embarrassing as hell, and you are not helping. Now, you can leave here, and nothing happens. Or, I could write you up and arrest you."
"For what? I've not done anything wrong."
"Well, let's see. Verbal assault, destruction of property as things have been knocked over, rioting and inciting a riot, loitering, the list goes on. Do you want me to continue?" Entitled Mother, realizing she's freaked, "No, officer, we were just leaving." Entitled Mother drags her kid out of the store. Once she is gone, random dude turns to me and my boss and says, and Dad will never forget his words, "I'm really not a cop. I don't pretend to be a cop, but that one was really peeing me off." Summary. Entitled Mother thinks I'm possessed, demands her groceries to be free, and is then a fake cop saves the day. Also, some things are exaggerated, but the story's true. Also, my boss quit the next week. Update, figured I should mention this is not how I see Christians. This woman was nuts. Our next story was posted by user Smoke Water, titled, "Entitled Mum Destroyed by Bad Carnival Planning." I was reminded of this event while reading another post about an entitled mum at a carnival. This event occurred about 10 years ago, so I don't remember everyone as clearly. I worked for a company that did carnivals for schools. We would meet with school administrators about what their budget needs are, design and set up booths and shows that would meet their needs. We would then present our plan to the school administrators and PTA, heads of the schools, or schools. At the time this took place, I was a lead organizer for many of these events, so I would have the opportunity to meet up and get to know many of the parents and administrators of the school. This is important, so everyone knows the chain of command if problems occur. So with this all being said, let's get into the meat and potatoes of the whole ordeal. IEM, Idiot Entitled Mother. CK, Cute Kid, just there to have fun. OP, Other People, as there were too many to name. And me, your fearless bleeder. I was tasked to run a small carnival for an elementary school. You know the kind. End of the school year, let the kids play. The last big event before summer. Everything was going very well. However, We did have some complaints about the hot dog stand not having enough of certain items, badly cooked hot dogs, etc., but no biggie. I had dispatched a few of my underlings to go remedy the situation. I then had a couple of parents notify me that some woman was acting like she was in charge. Other person said, "There's this lady claiming I'm head of the PTA. I organized this whole thing. My child should be at the front of the line." Oh, that's interesting. Could you point her out to me? OP points the woman out to me. She was not part of the PTA. I had met all the PTA heads. I walked up to her, tapped her on the shoulder. "I hear you're the one who put this whole thing together." I EM, looking confused for just a moment.
"Oh, yes, isn't it lovely? I just put so many hours into this. Now, if you don't mind..."
"Oh, I don't mind at all. However, many people are complaining about how horrible the food is. I think you should go resolve the issue right away." The entitled mother just looked at me like she had no idea what I was talking about.
"Mom, you promised that this wouldn't happen again."
"You did just tell me, as well as everyone else, you organized this whole thing. I insist you go fix the hot dog issue."
"Well, I have other people here who can handle that. Go talk to one of them." "Yeah, the hot dogs are missing ketchup and relish. The buns here are a little on the hard side."
"Yeah, I don't like them boiled. Whose bright idea was that?"
"Could you fix it? My daughter didn't like hers either." "Well, I can go talk to someone.
You could see the backpedaling as she started to slowly walk away. People would not stop hounding her. Many followed her around, complaining about several things. I just watched as the lady's lies came crashing down on her. It wasn't long after that she left. It was a solid win in my book. Several people came up to me and thanked me for handling this annoying mom. They said it was one of the most tactful experiences they had ever seen. I treated everyone to fresh hot dogs. And our last story was posted by user WormFoondMP4, titled, "Entitled Mum Demands I Hand Over My Clay Dragon." Some of you will know that a couple of days ago, I finished sculpting my clay dragon. I don't have anywhere to kiln it because school is out, but there is an art studio around Hartford that I can take a bus to, since both my parents work and can't drive me. I won't bother with labeling the mom, y'all know the drill. So I was about halfway through the 15-minute bus trip to the studio, minding my own business. At a stop, we pick up a couple people, a guy in a suit, a dad with his kid, just gotten his kid McDonald's, what a champ, and a classic Karen. No kid this time. As soon as she got on, I knew what kind of person she was, but I hoped there wouldn't be any trouble. Boy, was I wrong. I moved my box so she could take a seat next to me, please the devil and all that jazz, and moved my box which contained the dragon, a bunch of clay wrapped in plastic bags, and my clay knife and sculpting tools.
"Hey there, what's in that box?"
A clay project I've been working on. I'm gonna get it kilned after the studio.
"Can I look?"
"Sure." Once again, please the devil. Entitled mother opens the box and takes a peek around.
"A dragon? That's so cool. My son loves dragons."
I groaned inside. Here it comes. Entitled mother pulls out her wallet.
"How much is it?"
"Well, it's not for sale. And even if it was, it's not fired anyway, so it's pretty fragile. I'm sure you wouldn't pay for something unfinished and unpainted."
"Oh, I'm sure we can finish it up for him. Give it here."
Entitled mother shoves $15 into my face and reaches for the box, but I slap her wrist away and hand the money back. "This dragon isn't really good. I know, but I made him and like hell I'm gonna sell something I made and worked hard on."
"I told you, give me the dragon and I'll pay you. It's really simple."
Now, you probably know how fragile clay is when dry and unfired. This bench doesn't. She grabs the wing and it snaps off with a sound like a gunshot. She drops the wing into the box with the most horrified look on her face. I'm not a tall kid, I'm only 5'8" and I'm pretty thin, but I was fudging ticked. Those wings took me 3 hours each to make nearly identical, and this bench just snapped it off. Needless to say, I lost it. I turned red as a goddamn tomato and started yelling incoherently about how long the wings took me to make, and basically throwing every insult in both English and Russian I knew. I was making a pretty big scene, but this bench did something even worse. She fudgin' 5-starred me across the mouth. Fortunately, it didn't cause any major damage, but still hurt like hell. In retrospect, I probably would have done the same thing. I admitted that I crossed a line, but what she said after was unacceptable.
There! That's what you get for trying to take my son's dragon, you piece of white trash. Go to hell!
Now, the dad with the McDonald's saw the whole thing go down and stopped the lady from getting off the bus. He was pretty calm about it, surprisingly. Look, lady, give the kid back his dragon. You slapped him, broke his dragon, and now you want to take it? Ooh, that's not how it works. Give the poor kid the dragon, dang it.
Well, if I can't have it, nobody will.
She throws the wingless dragon down to the floor and it shatters like glass. 7 hours of hard work down the drain. I was speechless. The bus driver heard the lady and ordered her off the bus at the next stop. She spit at him and left. I didn't get a chance to fire my dragon. God fudging damn it. And there's a picture of the dragon before being broken on here, if you want to verify that it's real. Anyway guys, thank you for those who stuck it out to the end. I really just wanted to post a horrendously long video today. So tell me what you guys thought of it. Tell me if it put you to sleep. Tell me if it woke you up. I didn't really put any accents into this one. I tried not to yell too much. I'm just trying to work off of your feedback you guys have been giving me lately. And yeah, let's have a chat, I guess. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.